Ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 City of Rochester Hills State of the City Address with Mayor Bryan K. Barnett begins right now.
Now these guys, hey, good evening, Rochester Hills. How are you? Wow, it is so great to see so many people in Innovation Hills. Welcome to beautiful Innovation Hills. I know none of you were worried about the weather today, right? None of us were either. Thank you, God. We've got a beautiful day. It's gorgeous. I see no one else is wearing a suit coat, just me, maybe Mr. Deal. Thank you. We are so privileged to welcome you here and so glad that you've joined us for our first ever outdoor State of the City. Are you in the right place today? Are you ready to have some fun? Do we have any first-timers to Innovation Hills here tonight? Any first-timers? Awesome. Well, I hope that you fall in love with this park. This park has been really a blessing and a privilege to be a part of from the beginning. There are so many people to thank and so many things to get into, and we'll get to do that a little bit later, but my job tonight is to welcome you. How many of you have been to a State of the City before? Anybody been to one of these before? Great. Well, our job is to make sure you are entertained while we also tell the amazing story of our city. We are so proud of our community and want to tell this story in a very unique, fun, and creative way, and we hope that we've done that again this year as we have an amazing, beautiful night planned for you all this evening. So we always attempt to be a little innovative. You'll hear that word a little bit with these programs. Tonight, of course, is no exception. So I hope you're here and ready to have some fun. You have one job tonight. Sit back, relax, taking a big breath of fresh Rochester Hills summertime air, and enjoy our performance. Well, like I said, we're glad that you are here in this incredible environment tonight to share in this story, which is really our community's story, your story, if we're being honest, to talk about this evening. And I want you to think a little bit about where we've been for just a minute. Challenged as a nation, a state, and a city like no other time in our history. Asked to do, in many cases, the unthinkable, just to keep our loved ones safe. Experiencing anxiety, disconnection, fear, and in many cases, deep isolation. We all certainly as a community have been tried and tested. But friends, tonight I also want you to look at where we are right now, outside in this beautiful new space, in nature, on what we knew would be a perfect night, in community with our neighbors, celebrating a city that we all know and love. We truly have come together this evening as a community, as friends and neighbors, as newcomers and old-timers to this city. We've come together tonight as family, tried and tested, but stronger than ever. And we picked this venue tonight, of course, you can imagine, for a very specific reason. John Muir, the great American naturalist, once said, "One touch of nature makes all the world kin." And we are blessed to have so many beautiful touches of nature in Rochester Hills, aren't we? From the powerful Clinton River to the picturesque Paint Creek and Clinton River trails, from the hilly scenic paths of Bloomer to the open spaces at Borden, from the incredible sunrises over Carter Lake at Spencer Park to the amazing sunset you will witness in about an hour or so over your shoulders here in the lakes at Innovation Hills. One touch of nature truly makes all the world kin indeed. In fact, it's been one of the great lessons of this pandemic. We've learned about the power of nature and how it connects us to one another as our parks have enriched us both physically and mentally. So we come together here as one in person to celebrate this great city, our residents, our businesses, and our shared future. Now, you all know how much I love presenting the State of the City, and we've had some pretty fun presentations over the past decade. Rock concerts, gospel choirs, crazy celebrity guest appearances, and fireworks. If you know me, you know I love fireworks. I absolutely love fireworks. I've rappelled in from the ceiling. I've played Jimmy Fallon. I've interviewed Madonna. I've danced multiple numbers with dance teams and bands, and even rushed through dozens of costume changes, all in an attempt to celebrate our community's story. But last year's State of the City was different. It was mostly just me, alone, on an empty stage, taking off my mask just long enough to deliver my remarks. And I hated it. They did give me a sparkler, but I still hated it. So friends, I'm so happy to be back, to bring our usual Rochester Hills flair, and to be able to celebrate with you all this evening in person, the way God designed State of the City addresses to be presented. So we begin tonight, where we should every time we gather in this nation, by taking a moment to thank him for his blessings and to honor our great country. So feel free to remain in your seats through the invocation, and I will invite all of you to stand at the conclusion and at the beginning of our national anthem. At this time, I would like to invite my good friend Glenn McIntosh, the Senior Vice President of Student Affairs and Chief Diversity Officer at Oakland University, and a member of the Mayor's Advisory Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, to offer our invocation. Please welcome Glenn McIntosh.
I feel old. And the reason why is because Bryan was one of my students at Oakland University. Thank you. High in the sky, the Almighty God tapped on a white cloud. And as he tapped on the white cloud, a sound resonated from the cloud. It was a boomerang effect. And all those in Rochester Hills heard the tap, the sacred noise from the white cloud. And as they heard, they leaned in, they tuned in, and they listened to what the Almighty God had to say. And as they listened, they heard the voice of God say, "If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, then will I hear from them and heal their land." And so I ask all present to humbly bow your head and join me in a moment of prayer. Angels of God, we hear the Lord's voice calling us. Almighty God, we thank you for your presence, for your positioning, for your purpose in our lives. Almighty God, we need you more now than ever in the midst of unprecedented times, an unprecedented pandemic. We need global peace, global healing. We find ourselves on the brink of a breakthrough or a breakdown, pandemonium, panic, and pain, interruption and disruption. But Almighty God, we seek you as the healer, of the provider of our happiness, of our hope. In the midst of the storm, Lord, we are blessed to have Bryan Barnett as our caring mayor. We thank you for giving us such a leader who's steadfast daily upon his rising and shining to rise up this city to be one of America's best places to live. We thank you for the diversity of our people, our culture, our language, our venues. We thank you for blessing our businesses, our municipalities, our schools, for lighting the path for us to go forward. We thank you, Almighty God, for constantly hearing our cries, answering our prayers. And as we move forward, we know that this is a city of innovation and creation. And so it is, Lord, that we turn to you with full hope, full expectancy, excited. We say, we're with you. We grab your hands, Lord, and we ascend to a higher level of purpose, of consciousness. And with that consciousness, Lord, we pledge, we vow to hear your word, your will, your way, and follow the path forward. And collectively, the people of Rochester Hills who know the Lord and know the Lord, know the Lord and know the Lord, said, amen, amen, and I walk in the path. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Glenn has been a trusted friend for many, many years, and I appreciate his leadership and friendship. And of course, having Oakland University in Rochester Hills is a tremendous blessing as well. Now, friends, I mentioned earlier this evening that so many people have told me that life is getting a little more back to normal for them, and how good that actually feels. And perhaps you can relate a little bit to that this evening, being outside and with one another. It's interesting that normal, if you think about it, isn't something that we usually celebrate as Americans, is it? We tend to celebrate excellence, extravagance, great acts of strength or courage, but we don't often celebrate normal, unless, of course, normal is taken away. So tonight we celebrate normal and those who have paid the ultimate price to allow us the freedom to enjoy it. Good old-fashioned American normal. So ladies and gentlemen, please stand as you are able. Remove your hats and turn directly around as the flag is over the hill behind you as we honor America with our national anthem. Thank you so much. We are obviously incredibly blessed to live in a great, beautiful, free country. And tonight, please join me in thanking our trumpet player, Frank Larnick. Frank, congratulations, and thank you, my friend. Great job with the Rochester Community Concert Band. And while we're at it, how about those incredible aerialists and our drum line from earlier today, our aerialists? And our drum line from Lutheran Northwest, all of you, a fantastic job. Truly, truly grateful to help set the stage this evening. As we began our performance today, we were beckoned to come together by that iconic Beatles song. You should know that I actually tried, if you know me, I tried to get Paul McCartney tonight, but there was actually a bit of a scheduling conflict, also, frankly, a bit of a budget conflict. He was not moved by my offer of a street sign and a lifetime Rochester Hills Parks pass. Thought he might be. But we have come together at the city's first new park development in over 25 years, Innovation Hills. And we're so happy that we could make this work this evening. This park has been under construction and it's taken a while. But just like the theme for tonight, it's come together. Now, I adore this park like a third child. In fact, there are times when I like it more than my kids, because it doesn't ask to be picked up at football practice and dropped off at Ramshorn every day for work. I see you, boys. And I can't wait to show you this park this evening. I'm glad you've joined us because you all will be the very first people to see the playground as we open it tonight for the first time. And there's a lot of people that we have to thank for that, but let me start with our city council. And I see many of our council members here tonight. Before we applaud for them, I'd like them all to be stand, and I want to recognize them because they are tremendous players. I know we have President Deal over here. We have Councilman Hetrick, Councilman Blair, Councilman Walker, and Councilwoman Mangioli, and Councilwoman Marita is sitting next to Councilmember Deal. Please give them a huge round of applause, please. Now, before tonight's show, they gathered for a very special group photo. I think we have it. Do we have it? Not sure if we have it. Do we have it? There it is. Some of them actually look really good in those haircuts. We are absolutely blessed to have a wonderful collaborative relationship with the City Council, and they play a huge role in our collective success. They're just as passionate about our city's reputation and our residents' quality of life, and are all truly, trusted friends. Plus, like I said, I think they look pretty good in those haircuts. So let's give them one more round of applause to our city council, if you would, please. Now, as many of you know, I've been very fortunate to grow up with a strong, supportive, and loving family. They've all been tremendously encouraging to me through all the peaks and valleys that come with a unique public-facing job like this one. They've truly shown me incredible love and set an example on how to treat people with respect and with kindness. And all that begins with a strong foundation, the selfless love shown and the lessons learned from so many. But specifically tonight, I want to recognize my mom and my grandma. They are fierce defenders of their kids and their grandkids, and they've always showered us with unconditional love and support. Now, to be honest, sometimes that support can be a little over the top. Like when, and this is a true story, earlier this month, my grandma, who's 84, was driving down Hamlin Road and noticed that the construction progress wasn't up to her liking. So she pulled over, gathered all of the workers she could find, and told them that the road had to be done by the date of her grandson's speech. This speech. Seriously, she told them that. And they're close. It'll be opened on Saturday. So thank you, Mom, Grandma, John, and all of my family for always being there for me. Let's give them a round of applause. My siblings are also a big part of my life. As most of you know, we have a standing siblings call on Sunday every night at 8 p.m., where Andrea joins us from Shanghai, China. My brother Matt joins us from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and my brother Chris joins us from some random bar in Orion Township. It's usually my favorite time of the week, and I truly treasure time spent with my brothers and sister. You may recall, some of you, the amazing story of my sister earlier last year. She was stricken with a strange and deadly disease almost overnight and spent the first 2 weeks of the year in a coma. And she was given just a 2% chance of living through that ordeal. The doctors summoned us, and my brother Chris and I boarded a plane to China to say goodbye to my sister. Well, thankfully, God had another plan, and she has made a miraculous recovery and has returned to China to be with her family and to finish her husband Jan's tour with General Motors. She's an incredible mom and a walking miracle, overcoming what appeared to be the longest of odds. And our family truly will always be grateful for the overwhelming prayer support of this community and many others throughout Southeast Michigan. And of course, for the healing hand of God for allowing us to continue to love on our sister. Now, fortunately, she's watching from, ironically, tomorrow morning in China. So, Andrea, I love you, and I can't wait to see you when you get back. Love you, Dre. My brother Matt and his beautiful family are also watching. Something totally different than this, I'm sure. But I love him and Kinley and can't wait to see them as well. And of course, then there's my brother Chris. Now, you know, it's fun. He has the same job I do in Orion Township, and it's fun to get to work with him as we both represent our residents all over the state and in the country sometimes. And although I don't quite get it, I don't understand it, I see that he does love his community with the same passion that I do mine. And he lives to serve others, rarely ever saying no. And, you know, he also recently gave his State of the Township, and you could tell, just like my pride for Innovation Hills, he too picked a prominent location to show off the township. I think we have a pic of that, don't we? Yeah, there's my brother. Yeah, there he is. And to my sons, Kenneth and Tristan, you both are why I do this. For 15 years, my goal has been to create a community that you would want to raise your kids in as well. I love you with everything that I have. You know, as mayor, you do get to have a little say in a few things. And so when I found out that this speech was originally scheduled for tomorrow, and that was going to be Tristan's first varsity football game, I knew we had a problem. I wouldn't want to be here, and certainly they wouldn't either. So I checked with the boss, Maria, and she said that I could change it to tonight. So because I didn't want to miss Tristan's football game, that's why you're all here this evening. Truly the entire extent of my power as mayor. But boys, thank you for being the absolute joy of my life, for being with me here tonight, and for staying off your phones at least as long as the aerialists were performing. Appreciate that. Your mom and I are incredibly proud of you both. And to Corinne, to Ronnie, to Jim, to Joe and Angelina, thank you all for your unconditional love and support over all the years. I am truly blessed, and thank you. And finally, my thanks to those who serve on our committees, commissions, and to our incredible City of Rochester Hills staff. It is my highest honor to be part of such an amazing team. a team truly recognized for excellence, locally, regionally, and nationally, year after year. Over the past year, they have been challenged as much as any team in our city's history, rising to meet each and every one, every time, harnessing innovation, leading with compassion, and striving every day to deliver the top level of customer service anywhere in America. You know, I often say that our competition isn't neighboring communities. It's not. It's Nordstrom's. It's Disney. It's Amazon. We strive to be the best, not just in municipal government, but in any field that deals with the public. That is our daily goal. And I see it as my role to lead and then get out of the way and to let the expert teams that we've assembled deliver. And I would put this team up against any municipality in the country all day, every day. I really would. And of course, I couldn't do a State of the City without spending a little time singling out my mayor's office team for their absolutely incredible and world-class leadership support. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never had a stronger team assembled. And I'm not talking just about my experience as mayor, but in my experiences with dealing with other mayors' offices around the country. I'm so blessed to have my right and left hands, Maria Willett, my chief of staff, and Tom Talbert, my senior advisor of innovation and any other stuff I get myself into, that's actually his title, as constant guides and sounding boards. They are truly the best in the business, and I couldn't imagine any of the successes we've enjoyed without the two of them. Additionally, our office leader and publicist guru, Pam Olson, who has been with me every day I've held this position, is the glue that holds us all together. Lindsay Wood, who brings an infectious energy and more creative juice than you can imagine, has rounded us out perfectly. And if you've ever smiled, been impressed, told a friend, or laughed at any of our State of the City addresses, then you've seen the amazing creative and innovative work of Jason Dale and Dan Kessler, who lead our media division. Without them, we'd be in an office with no entertainment, with uncomfortable seating, bad lighting, and terrible jokes. That's right. It'd be like going to an Orion Township event. These guys make all of us look good, and I could not be more proud of my entire office squad. Thank you, team, for letting me dream, fly, fail, and fly again. I'm sincerely grateful for your support. So please, friends, join me in thanking all of the Rochester Hills team members gathered throughout this park. You saw them on the way in. Wave your hand if you're a part of the team, facilities team, parks team. God bless you all. Thank you all. Youth Council. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have so much to celebrate and to be thankful for this evening. Let me begin by telling you this, clearly and unequivocally, that the state of our city is strong, resilient, and thriving. One of the reasons that's true is because we have leaders in both the city council and administration that believe in constantly investing in the quality of life for our residents. Now, this incredible new park is a perfect example of that. Now, the goal of this park has been relatively simple and universally complex at the same time. To build a park that can be enjoyed by all, but that doesn't look like anything else in Michigan, or the Midwest for that matter. And to do it all in typical Rochester Hills style. Different, unique, and of course, innovative. From the glow-in-the-dark pathways around the ponds that will illuminate your walk later on this evening, to the beautiful boardwalks that wind through untouched wetlands and hardwood forests, to the coolest new playground in Michigan that will open tonight for the very first time, this park is truly magical. Truly magical. And if you know me, you know my affinity for Disney magic, and really all things Walt Disney. The way Walt could dream and execute a vision no one in his time could imagine. He famously said, "It's fun to do the impossible," and I can certainly relate. In fact, that quote hangs beneath my portrait at City Hall, along with a secret hidden Mickey in my picture, as a true tribute to his influence in my life. That's true. His vision to dream, believe, dare, and do inspire me to this day. And if you look carefully at the park tonight, you might just see and hear some of his classic inspiration. It's that philosophy that's helped make Innovation Hills a one-of-a-kind regional attraction. It's inclusive, it's accessible, and it's like nothing we've ever seen or built before. The Oakland Press called it a park for a new generation, and it's an investment that will be enjoyed for generations to come and truly separates our community. As you might imagine, there's a lot that goes into planning for a park like this. Lots of stakeholders, many concepts, tons of discussion, dozens of brainstorming sessions. And some ideas made it into the final concept and were embraced. You'll see them this evening. But others, well, not so much. So we thought tonight we'd share with you a few of the ideas that we decided to leave on the proverbial cutting room floor that just didn't seem to fit with Innovation Hills. Take a look.
Welcome to Innovation Hills, where our Innovationeers have been working around the clock to come up with exciting new attractions for the city's newest park. Just down the path from Turtle Pond is our new non-indigenous snake exhibit. In our view, it's never too early to introduce our community to some of the world's most feared and venomous snakes. Look at those forked tongues. Fascinating. And whoa! Be on the lookout for this guy. This area is certain to help build quick reflexes. Kids who enjoy our custom 3-story treehouse will certainly like our new bucking bronco carousel. Mayor Barnett has partnered with cities across Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado to import the most untamed, unruly, and downright fun broncos in the country. And good news, this exhibit is already sponsored by Rochester Hills Spine Care. Everyone loves honey and the work produced by nature's hardest working insects. Our innovative and immersive bee experience will allow entire families to see the honey-making process up close. Just remember what we've always been told. Bees won't bother us if we don't bother them. And coming soon, we're adding a wasp and hornet wing to this exhibit. Obstacle courses are all the rage. And to build on our community's passion for fitness, how about this new extreme sports mud pit modeled after Tough Mudder? Located adjacent to our kayak launch, this area features rusty barbed wire and a 220-volt electric fence, and embraces our desire to bring you extreme, well, you know, that's right, extreme innovation. And never to be outdone, we've already started construction on the world's largest mosquito farm. Located in the wetlands just off the boardwalk, this area will feature the highest density of mosquitoes on Earth. But it doesn't end there. We're taking a page from starregistry.com and allowing our residents to enter this area, find the mosquito that's just right for them, and name it. Then come on back and visit your new friend as often as you like. All of this helps to fulfill our mission to provide the residents of Rochester Hills with the most interesting and innovative ways to cultivate and connect with nature. That's us, constantly in service to you here at Innovation Hills.
Good choices. Hopefully we've kept out the good, the bad stuff, left in the good. We love innovation here. We encourage lots of out-of-the-box thinking, but occasionally there are some things we have to say no to. But we do have so many people and organizations to thank for what did make it into this park. Like I said earlier, our city council has believed in this project from the very beginning. Director Ken Elwert and our parks team brought it to life. And you, the community, you played a really important role as well. Now, you may know that we started a crowdfunding campaign just a couple of months ago. And our goal was to raise $50,000, and if we raised $50,000, the MEDC would match it. They'd contribute $50,000. But if we raised 1 penny short of $50,000, they'd give us nothing. So how'd you do? How did we do? How much did the community contribute? Well, friends, you fell in love with this idea and blew the doors off our goal. Donated over $106,000. Absolutely. And the MEDC, they contributed $50,000 on top of that. $106,000 from over 400 individual donors, donating in increments from everything from $1 to $15,000. Those donors came from 6 states, 7 counties. And look at this map. I love this one. Literally every neighborhood in our community. Every neighborhood in our community. We truly, truly thank you. And what did those dollars help do? Well, they helped make this happen. Take a look. It's been fun to watch that take place. And of course, while our residents were doing the awesome job of chipping in, our business community quickly followed suit. Ascension Providence Rochester Hospital and the Ascension Providence Rochester Foundation recently contributed $500,000 to sponsor our boardwalks and to grow our boardwalk trail system. They made a truly unbelievable legacy gift to our community, and it has helped to fund the new South Loop of the boardwalk, which is nearly complete. Now, you'll be among the first people to see that progress tonight, as tonight we'll be giving some brief tours of the new boardwalk. So our thank you to Ascension's CEO, Chris Palazzolo, Angie Delpup, and to everyone at Ascension for their wonderfully generous contribution. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. And there are so many other contributors to the park, including the state of Michigan, the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, the Stolaric family, the Mosheri family, the Modetz family, Chief Financial Credit Union, the Rochester Rotary, and the list goes on and on. You know, I'm constantly reminded about the generosity of our region and would ask you again to thank all of you who donated here, personally, our business contributors, to thank everyone who helped make this dream come true. Thank you all. And as it turns out, if you build it, they will come. Look at these numbers. Attendance was up 300% in our parks last year. And car counts this year are already over 30% higher than they were at this time last year. Program attendance is up, program satisfaction is high, and we've never been busier. Which is one of the reasons our city council recently passed a resolution to place a proposal on the upcoming November 2nd ballot. The question you'll be asked is a simple one. Will you allow the city to repurpose the money that we've been collecting for the OPC building debt, that's now all paid off, take that same amount of money and now use it for upgrades to our park system facilities, new investments and reinvestments in our parks, like this one, and all across our city, north to south, east to west, all without raising your taxes one penny. We hope that you all educate yourselves on this ballot question and make sure you vote in the city's election on November 2nd. And as you know, through all of this new development, we've never forgotten our roots. In fact, we've recently celebrated them. Earlier this month, we hosted a grand reopening of the Rochester Hills Museum at Van Heusen Farms. I see Pat McKay in the crowd. If you haven't been out to that part of our town recently, make it a point to get there. Our historic district on the North Town is incredible, and you need to experience it all over again for the first time. Our dairy barn roof replacement is finished, and the newest exhibits are in place. Reconstruction of the equipment barn is complete, and exhibits have been added to the lower level and are now open to the public for the very first time, along with the milk house and bull barn, also open for the first time. The grounds look absolutely fantastic, and we thank the Rochester Hills Museum team, our donors, volunteers, and all who love our historic and beautiful museum. Tonight, friends, you can see, hopefully, that our parks are great places to come together. And a huge thank you to the incredible park staff for making this all possible. Let's give them a big round of applause, and maybe next year we'll give them a day off. But probably not. Of course, you can't enjoy the parks if you can't get there, and our outstanding Department of Public Services team has been making sure our road network is the best in our region. Now, you may have noticed some of the road work being done even as you made it here tonight on Hamlin Road. That project is nearly done, thanks to my grandma, and will be open to two-way traffic this weekend. Our DPS team is also not only working on, of course, Hamlin Road, but work on Auburn. We've been improving our neighborhood streets, working on new asphalt on Butler Road, and working with Oakland County on a large project that will improve historic bottlenecks at the Avon-DeQuinder intersection. Think about that for a minute. Now, this project is massive. We all know it, and it will improve pedestrian access and safety to places like Yates Cider Mill and Yates Park. And if making cider and donuts more accessible is wrong, I don't want to be right. Coming soon. And here's something else that I'm super proud of. We are big on data. We want that to drive all the decisions in our decision-making process. And a great example of that is how our DPS team closely evaluates the quality of our roads through a very sophisticated, independent rating evaluation of our road surfaces. It's a scorecard that lets us know really how we're doing. And you can see by these charts that we've made some great improvements over the last 8 years, with the percentage of our roads that you all as residents rate as good rising significantly, and the roads that you rate as poor falling. This is really unusual, and I would put this chart up against any community in southeast Michigan. Our resident surveys tell us how important good roads are in this community, so we continue to prioritize and invest. And by investing, I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars, almost $17 million on major roads in the last 2 years, roads like John R., Livernois, and Auburn, and over $13 million in local streets, cities and neighborhoods all over our community. During the same time period, just the last 2 years, $30 million in total because you, our residents, have told us it's a priority. And this, of course, doesn't happen all by itself. Thank you to the incredibly competent and responsive DPS team serving all of us 24 hours a day, 8 days a week, as you might guess. And they love their job, too. They really do. And you can tell it in a photo like this, which was kind of fun to see them do that. They've been fantastic. All 4 seasons, like I said, all the time, our DPS team is fantastic. Let's give them a round of applause, if you wouldn't mind. Another group that showed a lot of heart, stamina, and patience over the past year was our clerks department. Now, you may recall that we had a little election last November, and 2 major primaries leading up to that election. It was a historic election, of course, for many reasons, not the least of which was the impact it had on actual clerks throughout our nation. Now, it's important for us to know what happened and what the clerks team did in accomplishing and administering a secure and fair election. First, voter turnout was exceptional. Voter turnout in the November 2020 election was our highest ever, 79%, higher than the presidential election in 2016, and much, much higher than the national average. Our city loves to vote, and I personally have been blessed to know that for many years. And as you know, more of us are voting by absentee ballot. The number of absentee ballots issued and returned in November 20 versus November 16 increased 3-fold. And the number of people registering to vote on Election Day, look at that number, this year versus the year before, increased over 550%. On top of this, the clerk's office serviced an average of 50 people an hour in person at their counter every day in the week leading up to the election. And remember, all of this took place safely during a pandemic. They experienced a hard day's night over and over and over. So I'm incredibly proud and grateful for the work of our newly minted clerk, Leanne Scott, and Deputy Clerk Sheila Brown for their outstanding leadership and hard work. Truly groovy, ladies. How about a round of applause for our clerks team? And speaking of new faces, we have more than 30 new employees who have joined our team since the pandemic started. A huge influx of new talent and fresh ideas joining a seasoned group of experts. It really is an exciting time to be around City Hall these days. Now, some of these new faces are in the highest levels of leadership as directors in our organization, specifically in HR and IT. Chelsea Ditz is our new HR director. I see her back there. Chelsea previously served as an associate director of human resources at the University of Michigan and has absolutely hit the ground running, as you can tell, with 30 new hires. Another new face in our leadership team is that of Tom Howley, our new director of Management Information Services, or IT. Tom is new. I mean, really new. He started on Monday, 48 hours ago. We aren't even totally sure what he looks like, but this is our best guess. We do know that he comes to us from the state of Washington, where he was the director of technology infrastructure in the Renton School District, a suburb of Seattle. Tom and his family are now returning to Metro Detroit, where they grew up. Now, Tom will be leading a really innovative team that pivoted on a dime and had all of our city team members ready to work from home almost overnight without missing a beat. You know, I want to be clear tonight that we've not only come together, but that we're bouncing back, and bouncing back really strong. And that's especially evident in the extensive building and remodeling happening in our city. Our building department has never been busier. Take a look at some of these numbers. We've seen a 156% increase in new house permits, a 243% increase in total construction value, not just over a year of COVID, but over the last 6-year average. A 62% increase in the number of inspections that we're performing. And those inspections are now up to about 125 a day over the past 2 months. Folks, we've never seen numbers like this. And all of this happening while the city has migrated its complete plan review process from paper plans to electronic plans. Planning, building, DPS, fire, and parks have all been a part of this. You might wonder why Mayor would take time out of a state of the city to mention this, but it's important. For developers, for builders, and for families, remodeling their homes means saving time and saving money. There's no longer a need for contractors or architects to visit the counter at City Hall. And everyone gets access, quicker access, to plan review comments. It's just another way in which we're living out our mantra of being innovative by nature, this time by going digital. And we see the same kind of innovation and dedication from our incredible fire department as well. The men and women of the department responded to just under 7,000 calls for service over the last year, over 600 of them directly related to COVID, putting themselves at risk 24/7. They do this all the time, every day, all while continuing to innovate. In March, the department enhanced its fleet with 2 new ambulances, replacing the 2 oldest units we have. And with these new additions, the oldest equipment in our fleet is from 2017, ensuring that we have the latest and greatest technology available to service our residents, oftentimes in their biggest time of need. It's just another reason why our fire department has been ranked perennially one of the best in the state of Michigan. And like fire, I'm extremely proud of our partnership with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. Now, as you may know, the City Council and the administration perennially place public safety at the top of our list of strategic priorities, and our public safety officers respond. Listen to this. For the 5th straight year, Rochester Hills has been named the safest city in Michigan for cities our size. And that's not coming from the mayor, or the mayor's mom, or the mayor's grandma. That information comes from the FBI. Now, I attribute this, as a siren goes off, fantastic. Well timed. Now, I attribute this success to not only our well-trained, well-qualified, and well-equipped sheriff's deputies, but also to all of you. All of you are engaged and invested. You're vigilant, you're observant. When you see something, you say something, and you can't underestimate how important that really is. So thankfully, all of you really share in this recognition tonight. Now, finally, when it comes to looking out for one another, I must call out the heroics of 2 employees, both in our facilities squad, Mario Iafredi and Ed Lefebvre. In early June, Mario was enjoying an afternoon with his daughters at Yates Park when he noticed a girl in distress in the Clinton River. She had ventured too far into the water, and Mario realized her panic expression and immediately took action. He jumped into the river, and despite an extremely strong and dangerous current, carried her through the water to the other side of the river embankment and walked her over to her family. Not surprisingly, the girl's parents thanked Mario profusely, noting that if not for Mario's awareness, quick and decisive action, the outcome may have been very different. Mario, are you over there? Give Mario a round of applause, please. And of course, not to be outdone, on July 30th of this year, Ed Lefebvre was at the Silver Lake sand dunes and noticed an overturned truck on the dune. Inside the vehicle was an 18-year-old passenger critically injured from a rollover crash. Ed stayed with the woman who was pinned inside the vehicle between the dashboard and the roof, holding her head and providing support for 3 hours before rescuers were able to get her out. Hospital staff say that it was a miracle she was breathing on her own when she reached the hospital, and credited those on site for their quick response and assistance. Ed is here. Ed, thank you. Please wave your hand and be recognized. I am super, super proud of both of those individuals because they are absolutely symbolic of the type of employees that we're blessed to have at the city of Rochester Hills. Caring, attentive, engaged, kind, and always willing to help. Mario and Ed, thank you for representing us so well. We appreciate you and your leadership. Now, another group that's performing heroically on a daily basis is our finance team. We can attribute our ability to thrive through the teeth of a once-in-a-100-year pandemic largely because of the intentional, strategic, and fiscally conservative approach we take to our finances. A 3-year budget, a multi-year capital improvement plan, a 7-year financial forecast, annual budgets that are built in with a structural surplus. Joe, I see you. It's this kind of planning and collaborative relationship with our city council that allows us to be the envy of most other local governments in Michigan. And over the past 18 months, our financial team has been on top of it, navigating us through a challenging 2020 while carefully accounting for over $6 million in COVID-19 expenses. And they've accomplished all of this while receiving an impressive list of nearly every award you could possibly win from any organization that matters. They are the Taylor Swift of finance departments. Tom Brady, Michael Phelps, Billy, the Rochester Hills finance team. It's nice to have the GOAT on your side, isn't it? Let's give them, our CFO, Joe Snyder, raise your hand to be recognized, a round of applause as well. Now, encouraged by the incredible leadership shown by so many on our team, I too sought national leadership and was honored to be selected by my colleagues across the country to lead America's cities and our mayors through one of the most challenging times in American history. It was my sincere and distinguished honor to hold the title of America's Mayor as President of the United States Conference of Mayors, as this position is the highest professional achievement in my field. And it gave me the chance to tell our story to cities around the country and to talk about our success really around the globe, an opportunity that I truly treasured. Now, my term ended last year as the pandemic reached its height. It was indeed, for me, a year of challenge and opportunity. Take a look.
America's mayors are constantly getting it done. And that's what this is all about. Despite the negativity that's happening around us, we are moving ahead, addressing the issues that matter most to the American people and getting real work done at home.
Now I find myself as President of the Conference of Mayors during an unprecedented time in America's history.
The coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States.
This virus doesn't discriminate. It attacks everyone.
People should be concerned, and leaders across this country should be taking urgent action.
My message today is straightforward and urgent. American cities are still being devastated by this pandemic, and it is imperative that Congress and the administration take swift and aggressive action. Mayors everywhere are leading the local efforts to defeat the virus. It's not a blue city or a red city issue, and there's no part of America or within your home districts that have not been significantly impacted, because the road to recovery runs straight through America's cities.
We have to approach this from a nonpartisan perspective that all of us are Americans and desire to see our communities succeed, our small businesses succeed, and our communities stay healthy is critically important. Cities can't do this without federal partners. And so that's why you see mayors from across the country on this panel pleading with you, all from different political backgrounds, but all really professing a love for their communities and a desire to see them succeed.
This feeling of community, this acceptance of no matter who you are, no matter where you came from, what we care about is what's inside and who you are and what ideas you bring to our conversation.
I feel uniquely prepared because of the relationships I have and the network I have of other mayors to help me get through situations like this. I couldn't be more proud to be a mayor and couldn't be more proud to be president of a conference that recognizes its role in a crisis.
I'm proud of this organization, proud of the mayors that I stand with, and proud that you won't hear a lot of partisanship here. What you'll hear is folks focused on how to get things done. It remains my highest privilege to represent all of you as president of this family. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the Conference of Mayors. Thank you.
So I was proud, certainly proud to play, thank you. Proud to play a role in bringing America's mayors together during this past crisis, sharing information through conference calls and Zoom meetings with the president, members of his cabinet, the director of the CDC, and others critical to our nation's response. In December of last year, I was proud to be one of 5 mayors to be invited by the president to the White House for the COVID-19 Vaccine Summit, during which President Trump announced the initial details of Operation Warp Speed, the comprehensive and integrated effort to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine. It was refreshing and inspiring to see normally fierce competitors like Walgreens and CVS, FedEx, and UPS all working together to benefit the health of our country. And it's truly been an honor to be engaged at that level. Friends, I'm so proud of the leadership shown by my colleagues, Democrats and Republicans alike, from big cities and small towns, from red states and blue states, working together, collaborating, innovating, protecting, and advocating for what's right and not necessarily easy, for what's important and not necessarily popular, for what's pressing and not necessarily partisan. I love being a mayor, and the opportunity to represent my fellow mayors is one I will cherish for the rest of my life. And I look forward to continuing to tell our story. It's one of the most important jobs I have as your mayor, finding new and creative ways to engage and interact in an increasingly distracted world. That's why I launched my podcast earlier this year. It's called Right Down the Street, and it allows me to celebrate the ideas and perspectives, the creativity, and the passions of the people in our community. People who, like you and I, literally live, and work right down the street. We've had some really interesting guests like legendary broadcaster Frank Beckman, religious leaders like Pastor Chris Brooks in Iman Ali Layla, and crazy cool people like Fiona Turret, a Rochester Hills native with a pretty simple new gig for NASA as one of a handful of flight directors, listen to this, responsible for all human activity in space. And you thought your job was important. Had a great conversation with her. And just last week, I interviewed NASCAR champion and Rochester Hills' own Brad Keselowski. We compared notes, talked about the Puma's Coney dogs, and who's driven faster on Rochester Road. You'll have to listen, but you might be surprised at the answer. He's a great guy and an outstanding ambassador for our city. I'd love to have you check out the podcast. Just search right down the street wherever you download your favorite podcast. And stay tuned. We have some great episodes to come. And if you don't know what a podcast is, you're probably also missing Wheel of Fortune right now. Just saying. It'll get there. I love lifting up our community. And every year during the State of the City, we honor an organization or an individual with the Community Excellence Award for special contributions they've made to make our city a better place. And over the years, we've celebrated people like Ziad Kassab with the D-Man Foundation, dedicated to enriching the lives of families and individuals with physical and mental disabilities. We've recognized Girls of the Crescent, an outstanding organization founded by two sisters who've made an incredible effort to increase the presence of young female Muslim leads in school books and in libraries. Country music star Jana Kramer and Brad Keselowski from NASCAR. And as we thought about potential candidates for this award, we kept coming back to the same organization. Now, this organization and its staff were fundamental in keeping our community safe, strong, and healthy over the past 18 months. They were at work nonstop to support us, to support our community, each of you. 18-hour shifts, weeks after weeks after weeks, with no time off, exhausted but committed, selfless, compassionate, always there on the front lines, as we've come to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're pleased to announce that the 2021 Community Excellence Award goes to the staff at Ascension Providence Rochester Hospital, and accepting on their behalf tonight, their president and CEO, Chris Palazzolo. Chris, will you please stand and be recognized? You talk about a difficult job running a hospital system during a pandemic. There aren't enough thank yous around to let your team know how much we appreciate what they did. So on behalf of an entire and very grateful community, Chris, please take our thanks back to your team. Well, I mentioned earlier about how we've not only come together, but how we're bouncing back, and bouncing back really strong. There's a palpable feeling of energy and excitement, and that's especially evident in the changes that have taken place along Auburn Road. Now, how many of you have seen the changes along Auburn Road? Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Take a look at some of this before and after footage. This is truly, truly remarkable. Now, guided by an initial strategy laid out by our planning and economic development team, and with the help of virtually every department in the city, we recently completed a comprehensive renewal of a neighborhood first settled in the 1920s. The Brooklands, as we know it, is an area with a storied history that was overdue for improvement and beautification. And after decades of discussion, deliberate planning took place, and the renewal of an aged and challenged commercial roadway began. The vision slowly started, but every day it came closer to a reality. The project transformed the corridor into a safe and attractive place for vehicles and pedestrians, calming traffic, creating a more walkable environment, encouraging new and redevelopment opportunities, and of course, increasing some parking. We incorporated art and landscaping and developed public open spaces to create a desirable district, spurring people to engage and renewing community pride. The crown jewel of the corridor is the Brooklands Plaza, located within the newly closed section of Emmons Road. This new space, designated for community events, public gatherings, family picnics, lazy afternoons, is a one-of-a-kind neighborhood feature with all sorts of coolness, including the city's first splash pad. I almost wish I had done this speech tonight at the splash pad. The place has been hopping since we opened it, with hundreds of kids dragging their parents there every single day. And those parents, well, they're just happy to be outside with their kids, being kids. Now, perhaps the most creative element to the corridor is captured in the street art that is installed at 25 locations on Auburn Road itself. Collaborating with our local schools and the Paint Creek Center for the Arts, the city developed a student art contest, encouraging students to offer submissions based on this theme: what community means to me. With nearly 500 entries, first a jury, then the general public narrowed down the submissions to a final 25 winners who had their creations enlarged to 7-foot diameter circles that are oriented towards the pathways up and down the half-mile corridor. Take a look at this coolness.
It's not every day you get your art painted on a run. We did a tree from a worm's eye view, and we had the moon in the middle of the trees, and it looked like it was kind of glowing. There's just a lot of trees and woods in Rochester, so I thought, why not a wood?
I figured one of the most important aspects of the community was support and helping people, and I figured like a hug, so it's like a hug between two people. I figured a hug was a universal sign of support, so that's what I landed on.
I got the inspiration about summer, like we have a break for school. I think it's kind of perfect. I just loved it.
I kind of wanted to put words and pictures kind of into it, so I kind of wanted to put the buildings as kind of the downtown area, and then it comes together kind of symbolize community and like all the people coming together.
I came up with the idea when, like, next to my house, there were some birds on a branch, so I thought I could draw it with the sunlight.
I wanted to really focus on community, and hands just have a huge symbolism in the community and how we can work together and what builds our community. That we are all united. It just says the words in sign language spell unity, and it shows how we can all work together as a community to create goodness.
That's awesome. Give those students a round of applause. If you want to be inspired, head over to Auburn Road. It is really a cool place. And perhaps the best outcome, truthfully, is that we're already seeing a tangible return on that investment, years ahead of predictions. Our Department of Assessing Director, Lori Taylor, has said that the neighborhoods surrounding the Auburn Road corridor are seeing an 8% annual increase in property values, almost 40% higher than the city as a whole over the last 2 years. And to top it all off, we recently learned that this project is one of 4 finalists for the Michigan Municipal League's Community Excellence Awards, meaning that we have one of the top 4 and maybe the top coolest project in the entire state of Michigan. Pretty stinking cool. Friends, we are truly bouncing back, and it's evident not only in Auburn Road, but what's happening throughout our city and how our businesses have responded to this pandemic as well. For example, Mike Chico, the CEO at FANUC, recently shared that his company played a really pivotal role in helping to automate the assembly of masks and COVID-19 test kits, including the packaging of vials and lining up perfectly those Q-tip nose swabs, allowing them to get to medical providers faster. He said that we could thank FANUC just a little bit for that terrible feeling when that Q-tip gets jammed into your brain if you've ever had a COVID-19 test. You know what I'm talking about. But seriously, how impressive to have a Rochester Hills company so integral to our nation's pandemic response, a company located just through the trees about a half-mile down the road. Now, Mike shared that story about his company at a recent meeting of my mayor's business council. Now, friends, our business community is incredibly vital to our success, and they've had a rough go at it, haven't they? And we're grateful for the jobs that they provide, the services they perform, and the tax base they represent. It's why we spend significant time recruiting the right kind of businesses to support our city, and even more time building relationships to support them to make sure they stay here for the long term. We're excited to keep the Business Council engaged over the past year with live Zoom appearances from Rochester Hills native, keynote speaker and best-selling author Eric Qualman, noted publications consultant, pollster, CNN, and Fox News guru Dr. Frank Luntz, and my friend and America's most popular personal financial expert and New York Times bestselling author Susie Orman. The message from all of these guests was timely, relevant, and great for our local business owners, and even some of our City of Rochester's employees got a chance to interact with them. And what's next? Well, the number one issue we hear from the businesses in our city is finding qualified people to fill the open positions they have. Perhaps you've heard that as well. To that end, my friend and President Biden's Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh, has agreed to make a visit to Rochester Hills in October. I'll be putting him in front of Rochester Hills business leaders, students, and other leaders in higher education to talk squarely and tangibly about how we can work together to address these challenges and help our businesses in any way possible. Like I say in almost every meeting, it's not our business to be in their business, but it's our business to figure out ways to support them and make their jobs easier. And any time spent doing and accomplishing that is ultimately helping the people that live, work, and raise their families here in the community. It's just that simple. Finally, I want to mention the role our city team has played, and I'm really, really proud of the way we've responded in helping our business community respond and cope through the midst of this COVID-19 crisis. Just to give you an idea, the team distributed over $500,000 in direct grant funding to over 100 businesses, passed out hundreds of PPE kits, launched the Business Spotlight program, which produced some high-quality videos that we ran on the YouTube and city cable channels to support them, negotiated free billboard space on M59 for local retailers around the Christmas holiday, organized a Caught Shopping Local program where we distributed free gift cards to people that were caught shopping locally in our community, developed even a COVID special permit process that allowed places more outdoor seating, more signage, more flexibility, all trying to keep them open while they dealt with the public health protocols. In all, we provided direct assistance to over 650 businesses. All of this while making close to 3,500 calls a week to our senior citizens just to check on them and to let them know that somebody cared. Friends, I absolutely love my team. You know, tonight I can tell you that Rochester Hills has come together. We really have. We've come together in this beautiful new space. We've heard the stories of our successes, and we've shared it all as one together. After experiencing a feeling of suspension for so many months, we've emerged as better people. We've witnessed what it truly means to be a community and the importance and value of the same. Now, along the way, we have experienced significant loss, grief, and even pain. And we've seen big cracks in our culture. We've been challenged and we've been changed, but we've emerged more resilient, more grateful, more optimistic, more hopeful, more intentional, more empathetic, more compassionate, more resourceful, and more innovative. And it's all because of you, because of the people you are, because of the care and kindness you've shown, because of the community that you've created. And through it all, one thing is clear. Our city has come together once again. It's what we're good at. It's what binds us together and makes us special. And it's what we'll continue to do no matter what challenges lie ahead of us. Friends, it remains my high honor and privilege to serve as your mayor. And I've never been more proud of you, our community, and the team here who serve you each and every day. We are truly blessed in every way imaginable. And we've learned collectively that when challenges strike, all you really need is love. Friends, our city has come together, and I'm proud to share that despite intense and unprecedented challenges, we have remained the preeminent place to live, work, and raise your family, and I can't wait to see what's next. May God bless you. May God bless the city of Rochester Hills and the United States of America. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me tonight for our Rochester Hills State of the City Address. Tonight you have seen what happens when a community comes together, wishes for the best, and of course believes in a little magic. But this evening, I'm not the authority on wishes.
I'll bet a lot of you folks don't believe that about a wish coming true, do you? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a cricket. But let me tell you what made me change my mind. You see, the most fantastic, magical things can happen, and it all starts with a wish.
thank you for attending tonight's State of the City address. We are strong, resilient, and thriving Rochester Hills. I'm so thankful we were able to come together tonight to celebrate. We've discovered that it really is fun to do the impossible. Dream, believe, dare, and do, Rochester Hills. Hakuna Matata until we meet again. Good night, and God bless.